Good morning and God bless. Welcome back to the Daily Bread podcast. For today's episode, I want to speak about faith. And this really came to me because I was really thinking, like, a lot of the times I feel like we think we have faith or that we believe we have faith, and our faith is not strong as where it should really be. And this really came from 2 Corinthians 5:7. For we walk by faith, not by sight. And this verse is so important because a lot of the times when like it comes to those moments where we can't see what's in front of us, a lot of the times we freeze up and we get afraid. And a lot of times we don't trust what God has for us. But one thing that I've spoken about many times before, it's so peaceful knowing that God's always with us. There's no reason for me to worry. Last week I spoke about that the fear of failure is already failing. Why should I not do something just because I'm afraid? And I want to elaborate on that point. Why should I have fear when I have God? And it's not bad to have fear. It's not a sin for me to be afraid or for you to be worried or have anxiety or be anxious. But it's not something good either. It's not something I should hope for. It's something that I want to get rid of. And one thing that's helped me is just growing my faith in God, getting closer to God. Eventually my anxieties went away. Eventually my fears went away. I was like, you know what, God, even though I can't see anything that's going to happen, I can't see the future, I'm going to put my trust in you. One thing that I like is I like to have everything planned. I don't always like doing stuff like without an idea in my head of what I'm doing. But one thing that helped me a lot was like just putting my faith in God. That even though I don't know what's going to happen, that even though I'm uncertain of the future, just knowing that I could put my faith in God gives me peace in my heart and not worrying about the future. One thing I used to do a lot was I always worried. I always overthought about stuff and just continuing to think about it kept getting me more nervous and afraid. And one thing that really helped me was just like ignoring that, just not thinking about it, just praying to God and telling God, as afraid as I am, as nervous as I am, as I'm not sure what I'm going to do, God, I'm going to put my faith and trust in you. And that's not something that's easy to do, because one thing to say and it's another thing to actually do it. It's one thing for me to say, like, God, I'm going to put my faith and trust for you, and then it's another thing for me to actually do it. Because when it comes to times when we're facing whatever situation, and it feels like I don't know what to do, that in those moments is where it really shows, like, is my faith strong? Is my faith firm? And it's difficult, and it really is sad when you feel alone, when you feel as if God is not with you. Those moments are where you feel the most weak. But honestly, God is always going to be with you. And your faith, even if it may not be where you want it to be now, you can continue to grow it. Faith is something that's so important for this life. If I don't have faith in God, my relationship with God is nothing. This whole relationship and this whole belief is on faith. For me to believe in something that I can't see. And like I said before, that was something that I used to struggle with. Like, God, like, I'm worried for the situation I'm going to do, God. I can't see the outcome of it. But I'm going to trust in you no matter what. And that's sometimes some of the hardest things we can do. Because a lot of the times we want to plan everything and control everything. But you know what? You can't always control everything. There's things that you can't factor in. There's things you can't account for. And what helped me was just to put that faith and trust in God. Hebrews 11 says, and without faith it is impossible to please him. For whoever would draw near to God must believe that he exists and the rewards that seek him. There's many reasons that faith is important. Number one, if you don't have faith in God, if you don't believe in God, you don't have a relationship, like I said. And if we want to reach that mark to get to heaven, you have to at least believe in God, of course. That's one of the most given things about faith. The next one is that if I want to keep continuing with God, if I want to get stronger, if I want to become a better Christian, if I want to better my life, I need more faith, If I don't even have full faith in God, how do I expect to overcome different situations? Because then, like I said, when it comes, the enemy's gonna take it like advantage of that. I was like, oh, you don't have your full trust in God. You know what? Well, I can do this because you're not gonna run to God at the end of the day. Which is why faith is very important. And there's other verse I have here. Hebrews 11:1. Now faith is the assurance of things hoped for, the conviction of things not seen. And that's sort of what I was speaking about earlier. That even though we can't see everything that's going to happen, even though I don't know what's going to happen, even though I may not know the outcome, I put my trust in God. And I walk blindly. And that's scary to think about. And I mentioned it last week as well. I remember Josh Morales from Mesa San Marcos. He was talking about this, doing the first steps. And it's scary, Think about Peter. Peter, because of his faith, he walked on water. And even though he sank, think about that in general. He imagine the fear that he must have felt. He jumped out of the boat and he walked on the water. But because of the faith, because he had a lack of faith, he began to drown. He lost eye of what was in front of him. Jesus was in front of him, drawing his hand, saying, "Come to me." But he looked at everything around him and became afraid. And he realized, what's going on? What am I doing? And a lot of the times, that's what happens to us. That even though we start out good and we have trust in God, when we look around in our situation, and we look at other people, we look at everything going around, and we become nervous and we let anxiety take control, we begin to sink. But that's the thing, Christ is always going to be there for you. Even though Peter sank, he didn't drown, he didn't die. Jesus saved him. That's why faith is so important. Your faith, your everything needs to be in God. Not just because is your way to live, but if you want to continue moving on, if you want to upgrade, if you want to be better, you need faith in God. And I can't stress this enough. Like, give your everything to God. If God's calling you to do something, go do it, even if you're afraid. If there's something that you have on your mind that you've been worrying about, pray to God and don't worry about it anymore. Pray to God, give it to God, and don't think about it. If you're going through a tough time, if you're falling in sin, if you're stuck in a sin, have faith in God that you will be able to get out of that. God will help you. And the Bible says that God always gives a way of escape. Have that faith in God, that He will free you, that He will set you free of whatever situation you're going through. But like I said, a lot of the times the enemy takes advantage of our lack of faith. And he likes to use that as an advantage for him. If I don't truly understand God, how can I expect to overcome the enemy? And that was the podcast. I just mostly wanted to speak about faith, how important it is to have faith, why we need to walk blindly, even though it may be scary to think about, like, walk blindly. Like, even when I say it out loud, like, the idea, like, for me to walk and not knowing what's going to happen next scares me. But just knowing that I have God guiding me gives me peace in my heart. And that was the podcast. I hope everybody understood. God bless you guys. I hope you guys have a very great rest of your week. And I'll see you next week. God bless you.